Your geometry notes for lesson 1.8. So the first one says find the perimeter of each figure. So perimeter is just, you're going to take all the sides and add them up. So this is 9, this is 5. Since this has one little hash mark and this one also does, you know, it's also 5. And since this one has 2 and this one also has 2, then you know that they're the same. So this one is 9. So for perimeter, you're just going to add up all 4 sides. So 9 plus 9 plus 5 plus 5 is 28 centimeters. All right, number 2 is a square, and you know that because all of these little markings mean they're all the same. So if this is 7, then this is 7, this is 7, this is 7. And 4 7s is 28 also. Interesting, those are the same. Okay, number 3 says an 8 by 10 foot rug. An 8 by 10 foot rug leaves 1 foot of the bedroom floor exposed. So actually it leaves 1 foot in all directions. This is clearly not drawn to scale, but that's going to add a foot here and here, making instead of 10, making it 12. And it's going to leave a foot here and here in each direction, making this one 10, since it's in both directions. Okay, so it says find the perimeter of the bedroom floor. So 12 plus 10 plus 12 plus 10. Just go ahead and feel free to use your calculator if you want. And it should be, I think, 44. Double check me on that. 44 feet of perimeter. Okay, quick review of circumference. The formula for circumference of a circle is pi times diameter, and diameter is the entire distance across the circle, not just half of it. Half of it is the radius, so the entire distance across the whole thing is the diameter. So we are just going to find the circumference by multiplying pi times the radius doubled, because that is the diameter, which is 32. And actually what I'm just now reading is it says find the circumference of each circle in terms of pi. That means don't actually solve it out, just leave pi as part of your answer. So we're done. I'll write the number coming first, because usually you see the coefficient in front. So, but 32 pi is our answer. All right, number 5 would just be 16 pi. So the circumference equals pi times 16, or 16 times pi. Number 6, if the radius is 3.9, that means the entire diameter is 7.8, I believe. So this would be circumference equals 7.8 times pi. All right, moving on to number 7. I gave you guys some graph paper for 7, 8, and 9, and then we're not going to do number 10 because it goes off the graph. It goes up to 20, and we're not going to worry about that. So let's start with number 7. So go to your graph paper that I gave you. It says graph the figure and then find the perimeter. So for number 7, negative 4, 2 is right there. 2, 10, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is Y. And then 2, 2 is Z. All right, so basically what you're doing if you're finding the perimeter is you're going to either have to use the distance formula or you're going to have to use the Pythagorean Theorem. And since you're more familiar with the Pythagorean Theorem, I think I will do that too. It's really the same thing as the distance formula. It's just a little bit more steps. So let's do the legs. So the legs from Y to Z are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the leg XZ is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 6 and 8. So you've got 6 squared plus 8 squared equals C squared. We don't know what the C side is yet. 36 plus 64 is 100. So that means C equals 10. So since C equals 10, the perimeter is 10 plus 8 plus 6. So 10 plus 8 is 18. That would be 24 units. We don't know what the unit is. All right, let's try number 8. It is 1, 2 for point R. Point S is 1, negative 2. Point T is 4, negative 2. Okay, and since it's another right triangle, I will do it the same way we did number 7. So the leg lengths are 3 and 4. So we've got 3 squared plus 4 squared equals our hypotenuse side squared. So that would be 9 plus 16, which is 25. And the square root of 25 is 5. So the perimeter is 5 plus 3 plus 4. So that's 12. Is that right? Yeah. So 12 units is the perimeter for number 8. All right, number 9 is 0, 0 for point A, 0, 5 for point B, 6, 5 for point C, and 6, 0 for point D. So this is a rectangle, it looks like. And if we're finding perimeter, you just get to count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means this side is also 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which means this side is also 6. So 6 plus 5 plus 5 plus 6 is, what is that, 22, I think? Yeah, 22? Okay, so 22 units. All right, we're not going to do number 10. Number 11, starting on number 11, it wants to know what the area is. So let me remind you that area of a rectangle is just base times height, or length times width. So it's giving us a base and a height of 4 and 15. So I am going to let you use your calculator always. I know that's weird. And we're just going to do 4 times 15. So 60 square inches, because area is always in terms of square inches. 90 by 3. Oh yeah, it's 270. Hopefully you guys knew that. Took me a minute. It's all right. 130 by 3 is 390. All right, and then on the 3 circles at the bottom, we're not going to mess with this one because it already has in terms of pi, but 14 and 15, the area of a circle, let me remind you that the formula for area of a circle is pi times radius squared. So this time we actually need the radius. So that's going to be a problem when we get to 15, but we'll just take it in half. So we are going to always do order of operations. So be sure you're squaring it first. In fact, I wish they would have written the formula for everyone to memorize as radius squared pi instead of pi radius squared, because you need to do order of operations. If you don't square it first, if you do pi times radius and then square the whole thing, you'll be wrong. So always do order of operations. So we're going to square the radius first and then multiply it by pi. So our radius is 12.5. So we're going to do 12.5 squared, or 12.5 times 12.5, and it is 156.25. So this is 156.25. And then pi, oh, they actually want us to do it in terms of pi. So we're just going to leave pi. So the area is 156.25 pi. And it didn't give us a label, so it would be units squared because area is always squared. Okay, on number 15, the 200, we only want the radius length, and so if the whole thing's 200, then you can assume that half of it, or the radius, is going to be 100. So if its area equals radius squared times pi, we are just going to square 100 and leave it in terms of pi. So 100 times 100 is 10,000. So it is 10,000 pi. All right, let's move on to the back, or to the next page. So these were supposed to be shaded, but I actually went in and shaded them in myself because it says find the area of the shaded region, and originally these weren't shaded in. So just shade them all in if they weren't on some of your papers. Some of them I already got them shaded for you. So we're finding area again, which real quick, area equals just length times width, or base times height, same thing. Okay, so in the first one, it's just 15 times 19. So 15 times 19, which is 285. Easy enough so far. Now we get to this one. So we're going to want to break these up into rectangles, and I would say the best way to do it is maybe here. It doesn't matter. Some people want to break it up apart right here, and that's fine too. I'm just going to go ahead for the video purposes and do it like this. So this section, let me use a different color so you guys can see which section I'm talking about. This section is 4 by 2. See how it's 4 by 2? So the area of a 4 by 2 is 4 times 2, which is 8. Okay. The area of this section, we can assume that it's also 4 by 2. And the reason we can assume it's 4 by 2 is because it's 2 down here and it's 2 here, and this whole thing is 4. Actually, we don't know that, do we? We don't know that. But we do know that this little section is 2 by 2. So this little section is 4. Okay, let's see if we can figure out this section. If it's 2 across here and 2 across here, then that means this section in between the whole thing has to total 7. So 2 plus 2 is 4, which means this little section has to be 3. So it's 3 in between here. All right. The height here, if it's 2 here and it's 4 here, then that means this height is also 2. Oh, which we would have known, but that's okay. So let's see. If this is 2, then this whole rest of this must be 5, because from here to here is 2, and the whole rest of it, the whole thing totals 7. I'm probably just confusing you guys, sorry. But if this length is 5 and this length is 2, we can just do 5 by 2. So this section is 10. Yeah, I think I confused myself, but this is right. I'm sorry, you can divide it up however you want. But it's 10 plus 8 plus 4, which should be 22. The area is 22, I believe. Go back and double check me on that. Make sure you guys got that too. Okay, how do we want to divide up number 19? I want to do a better job than I did on 18. So let's say if we know this part's 4, but the whole thing is 8, then we also know that this section is 4. If we know this is 4 and this whole thing is 7, then that little section in here must be 3. If the whole thing's 7, here to here is 3 because here to here is 4. That might have been easier to go ahead and divide it up like that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to divide it right here. And I'm going to say our top section that's 4 by 3 is clearly 12. 4 times 3 is 12. Our bottom section is 8 by 4. So 8 times 4 is 32. And we're just going to add those together. So that would be 44 for a total. Guess you can't really tell where my answers are. All right. I crossed off these not because they're super hard, but because it's just the same thing over and over again. So we don't need to do this more times than a couple. So here we go. Circumference, just a quick reminder, circumference equals pi times diameter. Switching back to green. So, and this time it actually wants us to use 3.14 for pi. So instead of leaving it in terms of pi, we're actually going to read the directions, use 3.14, and if necessary, round to the nearest tenth. So it's probably good to practice that too. So if the radius is 5, we need it to be the diameter. So we are going to double 5 and make it 10. So the circumference is 10 times 3.14. So 10 times 3.14, or you could have just moved the decimal point, is 31.4, and we don't need to round it to the tenths place because that's all we've got is a tenths place. So 31.4 is our answer there. Okay, on number 22, it gave us the diameter already, so we can just plug 2 in right here for the diameter. So circumference equals 3.14 times 2 because that's already the diameter. So 3.14 times 2 is 6.28. Okay, here's where we need to round. If it said round to the tenths place, then the 8 will bump up to 6.3. So 6.3. All right, these would be the same, it'd just be more rounding for you. Number 24, the area. So let's go back to area. Area of a circle is radius squared times pi, or pi r squared. I just like to put it in that order. The area of a circle is 25, so the area is already done. So this time we'll put the 25 here for the area. So 25 equals radius squared pi. All right, and it wants to know what is the radius. So I like this one. So we will, here, I'm going to work it out over here where I have a little bit more room. So 25 equals radius squared times pi. All right, if we're solving this, we will divide both sides by pi because we're going to use 3.14. So I probably should have just written 3.14, but that's okay. Here, I'll put it right here. Okay, so 25 divided by 3.14, 25 divided by 3.14 is about, and since we're going to be rounding it, I'm going to put 7.962 for now. 7.962. I know we're supposed to round it better, but I'm going to leave it a little bit longer for a second because now we have that that's what radius squared is. So we're going to square root both sides. And actually, if you still have that long number on your calculator, just leave it there. And let's go to the square root button. And it looks like it's about 2.82. So since we're rounding it to the tenths place, it would just be 2.8. So it's about 2.8 for the radius on number 24. All right, number 25. A rectangle has twice the area of a square. I need to think this through. A rectangle has twice, so 2x, because it's twice the area of this square. So we don't know the square, so I'm calling it x, and we don't know the rectangle, but we know it's twice the area of a square. And I put it in the center because it's not the perimeter, it's the area, so it's the section inside. All right, it does tell us though that the rectangle is 18 by 4, so this is 18 by 4. So it wants to know what the it wants us to know what the perimeter of the square is. So we don't even need x, we need the perimeter. Once we find x, we're going to have to find the side lengths and add it up for the perimeter. This is a thinker. If you worked ahead, you maybe didn't pay attention to all the instructions. So let's figure this out. If 18 times 4 equals 2x, let's figure out what x is. So what I just said is length times width equals our center number. So 18 times 4 equals the area, which all we know about the area is that it's 2x. So let's start solving this. So let me get out my calculator. 18 times 4 is 72. So 72 equals 2x. Divide both sides by 2. X equals 36. So if we know that our x equals 36, that's the area. It's asking us what is the perimeter. So what do we know about squares? Well, what you should know is that they're all for the same side lengths. So whatever this side is also. And we need, when you multiply length times width, to equal 36. So that means that each side has to be 6, because the only way to get an area of 36, if it's a square, is 6 times 6, because they're all 4 the same length. So if you know that this side is 6 and this side is 6 and it's a square, then this side is 6 and this side is also 6. Whoops, totally lost it. Sorry about that. So 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 is also 36. So the perimeter is also 36. All right, we're going to skip some of these others. Some of them need you to have graph paper that I didn't have go to 10. So anyway, we're just going to not worry about all that. But I do want you to try number 30 on your own. I'm not going to work it out in this video. We'll talk about it in class. But let me just read it to you and make sure you know what you're doing. The units of the floor plan at the right are in feet. So 20 feet by 20 feet. So this is a square with the whole thing. All right, find the perimeter and the area of each room. So I want 2 answers for each section. I want the perimeter and the area of each room. So find the perimeter and the area of the kitchen, the perimeter and the area of the bedroom, the perimeter and the area of the bathroom, the perimeter and the area of the closet, and then what is the area of the main hallway? So this one that's all kind of in a different weird shape. And explain how you could use this area using the area of all the other rooms. So this is going to be your assignment for today. You're going to upload a picture of just this answer to number 30 onto Canvas for your assignment, and then we'll actually do a Math XL over 1.8 later, like tomorrow or some other time. So I will let you know about that. But for today, try number 30 on your own and upload your picture of your answer for me to see.